In a clash that sent shockwaves through the boxing world, Adrien the Problem Broner, the brash and electrifying American showman, squared off against Gavin the Rock Rees, the gritty, heart-on-his-sleeve Welsh warrior, in a high-stakes showdown that promised fireworks, and delivered in spades. This wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of styles, personalities, and unyielding ambition, with both men hungry to cement their legacy in the unforgiving squared circle. Broner, the flamboyant phenom with a chip on his shoulder, aimed to prove he was the future of boxing. Rees, the tenacious underdog, was determined to show the world he could topple a giant. What unfolded was a masterclass in power, precision, and pure drama, culminating in a knockout that left jaws on the floor and the crowd roaring. Picture this, February 16, 2013, at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, a venue steeped in boxing history, buzzing with anticipation. The air crackled with energy as fans packed the arena, their cheers echoing off the walls. Broner, the 23-year-old prodigy from Cincinnati, Ohio, strutted into the ring with the swagger of a rock star, his WBC lightweight title gleaming under the bright lights. At 26-0 with 22 knockouts, he was a force of nature, a fighter whose blistering hand speed, razor-sharp combinations, and unshakable confidence made him a nightmare for opponents. But this wasn't just about defending his belt, it was about sending a message to the boxing world that he was untouchable, a star destined for greatness. Across the ring stood Gavin Rees, the 32-year-old pride of Newport, Wales. With a record of 37-1-1 and 18 knockouts, Rees was no stranger to big moments. A former WBA light welterweight champion, he'd faced adversity before and come out swinging. Known for his relentless pressure, iron chin, and never-say-die spirit, Rees was the epitome of a fighter who left it all in the ring. He wasn't here to be a stepping stone for Broner's hype train. He was here to shock the world, to prove that heart and grit could overcome flash and flare. The stage was set for an epic battle, and neither man was backing down. From the opening bell, the tension was palpable. Broner, with his slick footwork and dazzling hand speed, came out looking to dominate. His jab snapped like a whip, setting the tone early as he circled Rees, probing for openings. Rees, undeterred, pressed forward with the tenacity of a bulldog, throwing looping hooks and body shots, determined to make it a dogfight. The contrast in styles was mesmerizing, Broner's polished, almost surgical precision against Rees's raw, unrelenting aggression. The crowd was on its feet, sensing that something explosive was brewing. In the first round, Broner showcased why he was considered a generational talent. His combinations were lightning fast, his punches landing with a thud that reverberated through the arena. Rees, though, refused to wilt. He absorbed Broner's shots and fired back with gutsy flurries, his face a mask of determination. The Welshman's heart was undeniable, but Broner's power was starting to tell. A vicious right hand from Broner rocked Rees late in the round, sending a ripple of excitement through the crowd. Rees survived, but the message was clear, Broner was hunting for the finish. As the second round began, Rees doubled down on his game plan, charging forward with reckless abandon. He landed a few solid shots, catching Broner off guard and drawing cheers from his loyal supporters who'd made the trip across the Atlantic. But Broner's defense was a thing of beauty, his shoulder roll, honed under the tutelage of boxing greats, made him a slippery target. He slipped Rees's punches with ease, countering with crisp uppercuts and hooks that snapped Rees's head back. The American's confidence was growing, and he began to taunt Rees, flashing a grin that said, "You can't touch me." By the third round, the fight was heating up into a full-blown war. Rees, knowing he was behind, threw caution to the wind, unloading a barrage of punches in an attempt to turn the tide. The crowd roared as he connected with a stinging left hook, but Broner ate the shot and fired back with a devastating combination that staggered Rees. The Welshman's legs wobbled, but his heart kept him upright. Broner smelled blood, his eyes narrowing as he stalked his prey. A thunderous right hand landed flush on Rees's chin, and the arena erupted. Somehow, Rees stayed on his feet, his resilience earning the respect of everyone watching. The fourth round was where the fight reached its boiling point. Broner, now in complete control, unleashed a relentless assault. His punches were a blur, left hooks, right uppercuts, body shots that echoed like drum beats. Rees, battered but unbowed, kept swinging, refusing to give an inch. But the punishment was mounting. A brutal left hook to the body folded Rees in half, his face contorted in pain. Broner, sensing the end was near, poured it on, landing a series of unanswered blows that had the referee watching closely. The crowd was in a frenzy, some cheering for Broner's dominance, others pleading for Rees to hang on. Then it happened. Late in the fourth, Broner landed a picture-perfect right uppercut that caught Rees flush. The Welshman's knees buckled, and he crumpled to the canvas in a heap. The arena exploded as the referee waved off the fight, declaring Broner the winner by knockout. The image of Rees hitting the deck, with Broner standing over him, arms raised in triumph, became an instant classic. It was a statement win for the young champion, a reminder that beneath the bravado was a fighter with devastating power and unshakable resolve. As the dust settled, Broner soaked in the moment, basking in the adulation of the crowd. He'd not only defended his title but done so in spectacular fashion, solidifying his status as one of boxing's brightest stars. For Rees, the loss was a bitter pill, but his courage in the face of overwhelming odds earned him admiration far beyond the ring. He'd gone toe-to-toe with a phenomenon, left everything he had in the fight, a true testament to the warrior spirit that defines boxing. This fight wasn't just about the knockout. It was about two men laying it all on the line, each driven by their own dreams and demons. Broner, the prodigy with the weight of expectations on his shoulders, proved he could back up his talk with devastating action. Rees, the underdog with a heart as big as his homeland, showed that even in defeat, a fighter's spirit can shine brighter than any title belt. On one side, Adrien the Problem Broner, the American sensation whose swagger was as sharp as his punches, ready to dazzle the world. On the other, Gavin the Rock Rees, the Welsh warrior with a heart forged in fire, determined to defy the odds. This wasn't just a fight, it was a seismic collision of wills, a battle where pride, power, and legacy hung in the balance. February 16, 2013, at Atlantic City's Boardwalk Hall, the air buzzed with electric anticipation. The stakes: Broner's WBC lightweight title and the chance to prove who truly owned the ring. What unfolded was a heart-pounding, jaw-dropping showdown that ended with a knockout no one would forget. Broner strutted into the arena like a king claiming his throne. At 23, the Cincinnati native was a phenomenon, 26-0 with 22 knockouts, a record that screamed dominance. His hands were lightning, his footwork poetry, and his confidence borderline untouchable. With a grin that could light up the Vegas Strip, Broner wasn't just defending his belt, he was auditioning for immortality. The crowd ate it up, chanting his name as he danced under the spotlight, his title belt gleaming like a crown. But this was no coronation. Across the ring stood a man who didn't care about the hype, a fighter ready to tear down the kingdom Broner was building. Gavin Rees, the pride of Newport, Wales, was no stranger to proving doubters wrong. At 32, with a record of 37-1-1 and 18 knockouts, he'd already tasted world championship gold as a former WBA light welterweight champ. Rees was grit personified, compact, relentless, with a chin carved from granite and a spirit that refused to break. His eyes burned with defiance as he stared down Broner, unfazed by the American's flash. The Welsh fans who'd crossed the ocean to cheer him on waved their flags, their voices a battle cry. Rees wasn't here to play the victim in Broner's story. He was here to write his own, to shock the world and remind everyone that heart can move. Cheers rained down, Broner soaked it all in, his charisma filling the arena. He'd done more than defend his title, he'd put the world on notice. At 23, he was a star whose light burned brighter than ever. For Rees, the loss stung, but his courage was undeniable. He'd faced a monster and never backed down, leaving a legacy of heart that no scorecard could diminish. The Welsh fans chanted his name, their pride unbroken, knowing their man had fought like a lion. This wasn't just a fight, it was a story of dreams, defiance, and the raw beauty of boxing. Broner, the prodigy with the world at his feet, showed why he was called the problem, his fists solving every question Rees posed. Rees, the underdog with a warrior's soul, proved that greatness isn't just about winning, it's about fighting until the last bell, no matter the odds. At Boardwalk Hall, under those blazing lights, they gave us a night that captured everything boxing is: heart, drama, and moments that live forever.